This is not me. So I'm actually a replacement for Nick. Nick couldn't be here because his wife delivered a baby 2 days ago. A bit otherwise, it was planned differently. It should have come earlier already. But so as a replacement, let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Klaas Bals. I'm the CEO and CTO of Inventive Designers, Belgium-based software company. My contact details are here. I will be available if you have any questions, of course. Inventive Designers. We're passionate about helping organizations better communicate with their customers. That's in one sentence what we do. Of course, that's still quite wide. We're a software company, so we have software products to help organizations better communicate with their customers. And I'll be showing you some examples of how that is done. So we have more than 300 clients in over 35 countries, so we're an international company. And typically, customer communications is about documents. But if I say document, it often is just a printed document. Of course, a lot of electronic and emails and so on, so that's why we speak about customer communications. If I speak in Belgium, I always say many of you already receive documents produced with our software. And all of the PDF files that we produce are actually created with iText. So iText is a very important part of the PDF generation capabilities that we have. We've been working with iText for many years, I think 12 years now. Initially the open source version of iText. Right now we're a customer of iText, and so I know Bruno for a long time, and I want actually to congratulate him on how well things are going, because I've seen how things were going before, and being a very technical person, how he evolved now and how he's broadening up things. It's not an easy task, so he has my appreciation at least. So back to Inventive Designers. 2 months ago, we were also awarded by Gartner as a cool vendor in the CCM space, so I'm proud of that as well. Here's a couple of our customers, maybe hard to see in the back. Majority of our customers are in the public sector and the banking and insurance space, but we don't really focus on a specific industry, and all the industries that produce either a lot of communications or where the communications have a high value are relevant and are relevant customers to us. You see many typically large organizations, sometimes national, sometimes international organizations. Scriptura Engage does Customer Communications Management, CCM, and that's how Gartner and Forrester and those analyst firms call that space that we are in. So it has a lot of functionalities, and Bruno asked me to go over each of these things in a bit more detail, so I'll be doing that. We initially started with composition, but now we really do a lot more other functionalities around it. Integration for starters, and for each component, for each circle, we've selected a reference customer, Nike. The European Distribution Center of Nike, they use Scriptura and thus iText underneath for all of their communications, which means the barcode labels, for example, that they produce. It's a large automated warehouse. They ship like up to 500,000 packages a day, so a very huge, all of the packages that Nike ships in Europe are done through that center. And they have an automated warehouse system with conveyor belts and AS400 systems and so on, so they needed to integrate document generation into their environment. So that's a strong case why integration is so important. Many different organizations each have their own legacy systems. Some use Java, some use web services, JMS, C code, command line, scripting, and so on. So integration with each of those environments are important. That's all part of Scriptura, our product. A second component, and a very important component, is composition. Composition means graphically designing documents, and so we have a component to Designer where you can do templating, as we've seen before. And we also have a component to do high volume generation of the different outputs. What's important in composition, and we look at it not as just designing a single template, but really doing document engineering. Many of our customers have 100 or 1,000 different templates, so you want to make sure there's a lot of reuse. An address block, you only want to define it once, and you want to reuse it across all of your documents, for example. Or a header and a footer, you only want to define it once and then reuse it. Or perhaps depending on the brand that you generate documents for, you want to change the style. Company A, company B, using the same template with different styling, for example. Multilingual is another functionality, so having one template where within that one template you can define the language dependent things separately, but all the logic, all the document logic only has to be defined once. So as you see, there's a lot of functionalities there, and we've invested since 2001 in this component. This is what we started with. Reference customer there is the Ministry of Finance in Belgium. So in Belgium, everybody gets their tax documents from our software. So sometimes we think about maybe we should do some viral marketing and on the documents produced. This document has been generated with Scriptura, but for this customer it's probably not a good idea. So designing templates, that's an important part, but also doing generation. And PDF is a very important format, but unfortunately, or well, the fact is it's not the only format. So we need to be able to produce MS Word or AFP for high volume printing and so on. Now, PDF really is used by all of our customers as it's a format that is so ubiquitous right now. Behind the scenes, we do a lot with open standards, and XSLFO is also a technology that we use. So we have our own formatter to generate the documents in high volume. Here are a couple of sample documents. So this is a page slip, so also showing how many absence days or sick days you have, and what percentage you get, and what percentage the company pays, and so on in charts. All of these documents have been graphically designed with the template designer. The result of a blood test with charts in color. Maybe can I zoom in a little bit? So not just showing the numbers from the blood test, but also showing visually how that blood sample tested. So a doctor can immediately see, in this case, how a medicine cocktail for HIV patients, for example, has to be combined, mixed visually. A welcome letter, very visual, but also bus stop information signs. Now this is a basic one, but also with all the timetables, everything of the LAN in Belgium, in Flanders, the public transportation company, all of their signs are created with Scriptura, thus with iText. So it's cool. I don't know if you knew that, Bruno. So this is one of the examples of the Nike barcode labels. But also SMS messages, for example. Of course, it's not PDF, is not involved there, but it's also a communication. Emails, HTML emails, push notifications, and so on. So that was the composition part. Next component, interaction. In many cases, we can automatically generate documents based on data, but in many cases, still a human is required to create that document or communication. For example, that can be somebody who will go on pension soon, who will retire soon, and then in Belgium, if he goes to the National Pension Office, he has to fill in a lot of forms through a website. Those forms have been graphically designed with Scriptura. So he gets through a number of these questions, and there's some intelligence built in there. For example, did you ever work with a supranatural institution? If you say no, you can just continue, but if you say yes, then all of a sudden this blue part appears that you have to fill in. So that dependent thing that you know from forms. In the end, in this example, a PDF document is generated that can be printed locally, downloaded locally. Behind the scenes, also the data is available for the pension office to enter into their backend systems. So these forms that you saw, they've also been designed with the Scriptura designer, but they're not using PDF technology. So in 2004, 2006, we had contact with Adobe on using the Adobe Forms technologies, but they were not open in us relicensing the Adobe Reader extensions. so they didn't even want to negotiate over it. So we chose the XForms technology at the time. So the forms part is not really using Adobe or iText, but the PDF generation is. Another part where human input is sometimes necessary is when you're creating contracts or an offer that you want to send to a customer. It's 90% standard, but there's some things that you need to modify, like select which paragraphs are available. And here you see some examples. At the left side you see the different paragraphs that can be selected. Some are mandatory and cannot be deselected, other are optional. You can select things and make things bold and italic. You can change the order of some paragraphs. And always at the right side you see the preview in PDF format, so that you can see how the document will be sent to the customer. And in some cases, for legal contracts, these documents are 50 pages long, of course, and this provides a handy interface of minimizing all of the paragraphs and keeping an overview over what happens. So we had integration, composition, interaction. Now we're at processing. It's a broad generic term, of course, but in many cases it's about merging documents and gathering documents from a variety of different input sources and merging them together, like adding text, adding barcodes, adding images. Functionally speaking, it's a lot about three applications deliver a letter to a single customer. They can be sent out in one envelope, for example. Or you want to combine them, three different backend applications deliver some data for welcoming the customer. You want to send out one email saying welcome customer, and behind the scenes there's data from three different applications coming. So all of that processing and merging and so on also can be done. For PDF, always using iText. Reference customer here is Suncorp, the largest or second largest bank insurance group in Australia. So they produce 450 million pages a year. So it's a large environment. They also use a lot of electronic forms functionalities. Now, in many of these cases, still when it's about high volume print, not always PDF is used, and for example AFP is a format that is used quite often, but luckily we see that PDF is gaining attention there as well, and I'm very happy about it because it makes our life easier, just delivering one format and then the customer handling the other things. After processing, there's security. There's been some mentioning about digital signatures already. So that security part of Scriptura is filled in with a product that we call IntelliStamp, so it's also our technology. It does everything with digital signatures using iText, but on top of that, it does extra things, because a digital document with a digital signature, if you print it out, the digital signature is lost. The printed copy, you cannot verify the authenticity anymore. You would think it's not a big deal. Well, many organizations still use paper. We've just seen two, like Carpass, they still use paper right now. The Ministry of Justice in Belgium, they still use paper. So we've seen many paper use cases. And that's an issue when you're dealing with digital signatures, because how to verify the authenticity of that paper document? I had the same question for the previous use cases. And we have a solution for that. So we do everything with digital signature, but on top of that, we also will add what we call an IntelliStamp to a document. It's a QR code, but it doesn't just contain a reference, it contains also a digital signature on data. So on a document we can add this QR code, this IntelliStamp, and then if this document is printed out and is tampered with, for example, this is a tampered printout, you see this truck has changed, and there's some other changes here in this document, like a percentage changed, but it's very hard to see, if you receive a paper document, how to verify that it's authentic. The way we solve that is that customer or the person receiving the document can scan in the document, and it's also indicated at the site here, scan in the document, upload it to a website, and we will indicate where changes have happened. So in red, for example, we will show the changes. So that way we can close the loop from digital to paper and back to digital. And we've seen, for example, with a city in Belgium, that they used to have only digital signatures, and they got around 100 requests for that document a year, where right now they're using IntelliStamp, but they're also allowing people to print out documents and to work with paper documents. They have over 50% adoption of the digital channel. So it's very strange. By allowing people to work on paper, they become accustomed to it and accustomed to the digital process, and they adapt to digital. So it's a bit, the human mind sometimes is strange. And then the last component is multi-channel. And PDF is very versatile here, so it works on both paper or printed channels as on digital channels. Belgacom, for example, they use our solution for many of their communications that they send from the call center, for example. And they also send communications and like text messages or push notifications. In multi-channel, we also see mobile as an important channel, so we can push documents, communications to mobile devices, and we have a library that can be embedded in a mobile app to present all of the communications from a customer. And apparently the screen cam is not working. So what it's showing is also electronic forms can be presented to a mobile device, can be filled in. We can capture digital signatures with a partner of ours on mobile devices. And then multi-channel is not just about sending out communications in multiple channels, but also getting feedback. For example, sending a communication through email, all you know as an organization is that you've successfully emailed it, but you don't know whether the recipient received it, read it. So we can track each individual communication and make sure that once people click on links or they open the email and the images are loaded, we know they've actually received the email. So we don't need to print it anymore. But in case the mailbox is full, for example, we can retry after 12 hours for 3 times, and then we can fall back to print. Or if it's more than 7 days and they still haven't opened the email or clicked any links, we know it's an important message, we want to deliver it over print. Or if there's a hard bounce, like the mailbox doesn't exist anymore, we can detect that right away and print out the document and finish the process. So this handling is also part of what we offer. All of these functionalities, these were the components, the circles around the central platform. I want to mention a little bit about that central platform as well, because it allows to graphically design those document flows. And Bruno, one of the first things he mentioned on his first slides was iText is a way to, from Java or C#, do things with PDF documents. The only thing you need to do is you always need to program. I think with Scriptura we have a solution that uses iText underneath, but that offers all of that functionality with a graphical interface, including those business documents, document flows. So for example, an entire flow of sending out communications through different channels, through different formats can be graphically presented. And can also be executed that way. You can see, it's maybe hard to see, but the green and the gray is where the execution is at this time. So you can follow up on this, and it's quite comprehensible, and it's very fast to set up new applications and set up new document generation or communication generation solutions. This document flow also has a pluggable architecture, which means these steps that you see, all of these small icons, they can be built into Scriptura, but it's also possible to create your own and contribute them. And once you've done that, once you've created some Java code and added it to the product, they're visualized with a graphical interface. You can configure them graphically through wizards. I'm not sure how far we are on time. Okay, so otherwise I could show like a live demo, but I will not be doing that then. So thanks for your attention. Sorry I didn't show any code. But